Hello, my name is Jonathan, and this video is going to be about the tense aspect mood system and the morphology having to do with verbs. So, let's start off with the TAM system. First, I'll go over the tenses. We have past, present, and future. Pretty simple. A English speaker would be pretty easy to grasp them. English, all it doesn't have is the future tense. That's pretty easy to grasp with will. Past is et, present is ut, and future is ot. Another thing to note is that if you want to do a perfect translation of a perfect tense, all you have to do is pile on the past and present tenses. So now I'm gonna list the aspects. There's a couple more of them. There's 4 of them that I'll list. We have habitual first, op, then we have continuous, which is op, then gnomic, and then we have perfective, which is the one you see the most. And perfective is ep. So habitual, all this is basically on a regular schedule, basically. It's a regularly occurring event. It could mean like forever, but it's not really meaning a event that happens habitually. That's all I can say. But continuous is pretty much the same thing as putting ing on the end of an English verb. It means you're doing it. I am swimming. You're doing it. You're doing it. That's all. Gnomic. I'm saying something like butterflies fly. They do that generally. That's all. Perfective is the one you're gonna see most. Perfective just means that it happened. I clap. I clapped. I will clap. It's a single event, and that's all. So there's no real combinations with the aspect in the tense like in English with the perfect. I try to keep it simple in that regard, but that's all with the aspect. Now we can move on to modalities. These are going to be pretty deep. There's a lot of these, I'm going to say. So we're going to start off with indicative, which is the one, it's nothing because it's one that's basic. That's what the examples I gave before. I swim, I clap. Those are indicative. That's pretty simple to understand. Then, going more complicated, we have imperative, which is basically you're saying a command to someone. So maybe even to yourself. You can use it in any person. Saying to someone that isn't there in the third person. You're giving a command, go do something. Go. I'm telling myself, I gotta do my homework. I can't procrastinate any longer. That's kind of imperative, and that's ta, and the modality goes before the verb, unlike the tense and aspect. So next we have interrogative, which is a question. Basically, there's no extra word you use to make a question in this language. You just slap that on the beginning of the verb, and that makes the sentence a question. Now, there are a couple. I'm actually gonna mark this, because this actually has sub modes that I'm gonna explain later. So I'll explain the interrogative stuff later. We can go on into subjunctive. What we have in subjunctive is, it's kind of hard to explain. It's something that isn't really there. It isn't real. It isn't a real action. It's not. I can't really explain it past that, but that this one also has together two submodes that are in this. Subjunctive is zu. I'm gonna mark that too. Now we go into a less common one. It's desiderative. This basically is a quicker way, instead of going into a subjective clause to do it, because there aren't any infinitives. This is a quicker way to say I want this to happen. I want this action to happen. It's ch. That's pretty rare though. You might even just go and use the subjunctive clause to express want and desire. But if we go into a more common one, it's negative. Negative is nge. You basically just slap that onto the beginning of a verb and it negates the entire thing. You might even use this in conjunction with another modality. Who knows? But there's no extra word. Same thing as saying I didn't, you don't. For an English verb, that's it with that. So I'm running out of room here, but I'll just go back up to explain the submodes. Starting off with subjunctive, I think we have azu, which is hypothetical. It means what if this happened. It's what it means alone. It could mean other things, one with other sentences or a subjunctive clause in there, but I'm not explaining that yet, so wait for the next video. Then we have tuzu, which is a potential, and that just means this could happen, this might happen. That's what it means alone too. Oh, that disclaimer again. And that's it for subjunctive. That has 2. Interrogative has 4 submodes, and the first one's gonna be that you're expecting the person you're asking the question answers yes to the question, and that's zuku. Excuse, I wrote zugu, but next one we have is that the person is gonna answer no. It's the opposite. The person's gonna say no, and that's zoku. That's it. And that goes on the beginning of the word, just like any other. Then we have 2 more, which are not related to those first 2, maybe a little. We have one expressing uncertainty over whether the question will be answered by yes or no. So, like a maybe, that is faku. I'm reading that wrong. Yes. Faku. And then after that, we have that the person the question is being asked to doesn't know the answer. They don't know it at all. They're not uncertain. They don't know it. It's fuku. And that's all the submodes. So we're gonna go down here and mess with the morphology. I'm gonna start off just by saying that there are very shaky boundaries between like adverbs, which is what we're gonna talk about here, and nouns and adjectives. Basically, you can take a noun, stick it on the end of a noun or a verb, and it turns into an adjective or an adverb. The only thing I'm really strict about is turning nouns into verbs and verbs into nouns. That's os and s and os, respectively, because those are the main phrases you have in a sentence in here. So, some more things to mention are there's no noun incorporation like in a polysynthetic language. This is kind of polysynthetic, not by the formal definition, but it's really agglutinative and that. And another thing is there's no subjunctive clauses in the verb themselves. Those are whole other words. That's it. That's it about that. So I don't know. We're gonna start off with shoop, which means jump, and then for the modality, I think we're gonna go with a question. Cool. That's the base. We're also gonna put a sub mode on here. We're gonna expect it to say yes to this question. So we're asking if they're jumping. No tense or adverb or aspect on this. Doing it in the present. Now, present tense isn't exactly necessary, and then we have continuous. But present tense isn't necessary, but I'm putting it here just so you know that's the present tense. But yeah, op is a continuous. We're doing it. That's gonna be an ing verb. So we're asking them if are you jumping? And then let's go over here. We're gonna say, are you jumping like an animal? Whatever the hell that means. Nomo means animal. And you just slap that on the end of the verb after all the conjugations are on there. So whatever that verb means, that verb phrase. Are you jumping like an animal? Of course, there's no actual pronoun on there. We're just assuming that, but that's it. There's nothing really else to talk about. So, see you in the next video.